Welcome to the Explainer. I am so incredibly excited you're hanging out with us today because, well, we're tackling one of those massive household decisions that somehow just manages to stress literally everyone out, buying a new washing machine. Now, both types are going to get your clothes clean, obviously, but the differences between them, they're going to impact your water bill, your electricity bill, your back, and yeah, even your laundry room floor. So, our goal with this explainer is super simple. We want to match your actual everyday lifestyle to the absolute perfect washing machine. Okay, let's dive into this. Look, if you've ever shopped for an appliance, you know the exact drill. You walk into the big back store, there are just these two massive rows of shiny metal boxes. They all look practically identical, yet the price tags are wildly different. The salesperson is throwing all this crazy jargon at you, and honestly, all you really want to know is which one isn't going to completely ruin your favorite sweater. Today, we're going to cut through all that guesswork. We are breaking this whole decision down step by step so you can buy with total confidence. We're going to cover 1, how they actually work, 2, performance and efficiency, 3, the true cost, 4, space and maintenance, and 5, which washer fits you best. Section 1, how they actually work. Before we can even begin to compare how well these machines clean, it really helps to just understand their basic mechanics. Every single complex marketing buzzword honestly boils down to one simple physical motion. Think about how totally different these two approaches actually are. With a front-load machine, you've got a horizontal drum. Your clothes are lifted up by paddles and basically dropped into a small pool of water. So gravity is doing the heavy lifting there in this tumbling action. But then, with a top-load machine, it uses a vertical drum. It's got the central post, right, called an agitator, that physically twists back and forth. This fundamental mechanical difference, horizontal tumbling versus vertical twisting, is the root cause of pretty much every single performance gap we are about to look at. Section 2, performance and efficiency. So, how does that physical motion actually translate to your everyday pile of laundry? Let's get into it. For decades, people kind of just assumed that the aggressive twisting action of a top loader meant it cleaned better. Makes sense, right? But independent testing actually shows front-load machines clean more effectively for most fabrics and everyday stains. That gentle tumbling motion we talked about, combined with hotter wash cycles, gives them a massive edge. However, traditional top loaders are still absolutely fantastic for heavily soiled stuff. Think muddy sports uniforms or super heavy-duty work clothes, all because of that really harsh mechanical scrubbing. Okay, 1,600 rotations per minute. That is the spin speed of a high-end front loader. Compared to, maybe 600 to 800 RPM for a top loader, it's practically double. Because front loaders spin so incredibly fast, they extract a massive amount of water before you even take the clothes out. Now, why does that actually matter? Well, it means your dryer has to do significantly less work, which is going to save you major money on your energy bill. But hey, it's not a total sweep for front loaders. Let's talk about wash time. This is a genuine, undeniable advantage for top loaders. They are just much faster. Because they use more water and stronger agitation, a traditional top loader can totally finish a standard cycle in 30 to 45 minutes. A front loader, that can take anywhere from 45 minutes to well over 2 hours, especially if you're using those energy-saving settings. If you have a huge family and you're churning through multiple loads of laundry every single day, this difference in speed is absolutely a game changer. Section 3, the true cost. So let's completely shift our focus away from just that initial sticker price in the store. And instead, let's look at the utility bills over a typical 10 to 14-year lifespan. It's your classic trade-off, right? Upfront cost versus long-term cost. Top-load machines, especially the traditional ones with that big agitator, are almost always the most affordable option upfront. Plus, because they're mechanically so much simpler, it's essentially just a motor turning a post, they're often way cheaper and easier to fix if something breaks. Front-load machines, on the other hand, definitely sit at a higher premium. But, and this is a big but, because front-loaders use a fraction of the water and extract way more moisture before drying, they cost significantly less to actually run over time. If you live somewhere with high electricity or water rates, the cumulative savings of a front-loader over a decade will very often completely wipe out that higher initial sticker price. Section 4, space and maintenance. This part is really all about the physical realities of living with these machines in your actual home, from squeezing them into tiny closets to keeping them smelling fresh. So the crucial point here is how the design impacts your day-to-day. If you live in a tight apartment with a tiny laundry closet, a stackable front-load setup taking up just 27 inches of floor space might literally be your only option. You simply cannot stack top loaders. But what about actually doing the laundry? Front loaders require you to bend down constantly, which, let's be honest, can be really tough on a bad back. Top loaders let you load standing right up. And finally, capacity. Without a giant post taking up the middle of the drum, front loaders generally offer way more usable space for bulky things, like those massive winter coats.
Okay, we absolutely have to address the elephant in the room here. If you've done even 5 minutes of research on washers, you've heard this exact question. Why do front loaders smell? It is far and away the most talked about downside. Here's the deal. Because a front loader's door seals tightly with a thick rubber gasket to stop water from spilling all over your floor, that gasket has folds and crevices, and those crevices collect water, lint, and detergent residue. When you close that completely airtight door, the inside of the drum stays damp, basically creating the absolute perfect environment for mold and mildew.
Since top loaders naturally vent out the top, they rarely ever have this issue. But hey, if you want all those awesome benefits of a front loader we just talked about, you are definitely going to have to adopt a super simple maintenance routine. 1, just leave the door slightly open or ajar after every single wash so it can air out. 2, give that rubber gasket a quick wipe down regularly. 3, use high efficiency or HE detergent and actually use way less than you think you need. Excess suds literally just feed the mold. And 4, run a monthly tub clean cycle with some white vinegar or a machine cleaner. Yes, it's an extra chore, but honestly, it completely solves the problem if you actually stick to it.
Section 5. Which washer fits you? We've covered the mechanics, the performance, the costs, and even the quirky smells. Now it is time for the final verdict to really match all this data straight to your personal lifestyle. But first, I actually want to introduce a really genuine middle round option, the high efficiency or HE top loader. So this is a top loading machine, meaning there's absolutely no bending down and definitely no major mold issues. But it doesn't have that big central agitator post. Instead, it uses this low profile wheel at the very bottom to create a rolling motion. So it functions a bit more like a front loader. It uses way less water than a traditional top loader, gives you massive drum capacity, and is much gentler on your clothes. It really is the ultimate compromise if you want modern efficiency, but you just really dislike the idea of a front loading door. All right, here is your personalized checklist. You should absolutely buy a front loader if you want the absolute best possible cleaning performance and gentler fabric care. If lowering your water and energy bills is a top priority, no question, this is your machine. It's also the clear winner if you need to stack them in a super tight space, or if you're constantly washing massive, bulky items like king-size comforters. You just have to be totally honest with yourself. Are you actually willing to do that minor, everyday maintenance to keep the mold away? On the exact flip side, you should probably buy a top loader, whether that's a traditional one or an HE model, if you just want the lowest upfront cost right there at the appliance store. It's the perfect choice if you have a bad back and just want to avoid bending over, or if you do multiple loads every single day and desperately need those lightning fast wash cycles. Honestly, it is just the practical, everyday choice if you value mechanical simplicity and absolutely under no circumstances want to deal with a mold prevention routine. Which leaves us with this one final provocative thought. There really is no single, universal best washing machine out there. The right choice is never about what the salesperson is aggressively pushing. It's entirely about how you actually live your life. So you've got to ask yourself, what are you really optimizing for? Are you playing the long game for efficiency and space, or are you prioritizing the everyday, immediate convenience of speed and simplicity? Take a really good look at your own laundry habits, your physical space, and your budget, and I promise you'll know exactly which machine belongs in your home. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy washing!